State of Michigan versus Regina Diana Barnett, case number 12-20902FY. Ms. Barnett, please state your full name for the record.
Regina Diana Barnett.
Ms. Barnett, I have a felony complaint that alleges between the time period of February and March of 2012 in the village of Marion of Osceola County, under count 1 under the heading accessory after a fact to a felony. It's alleged you did commit an indictable offense at common law, to wit, was an accessory after the fact to a felony that he or she did after the commission of the felony, to wit, armed robbery, feloniously conceal, harbor, maintain, protect, aid, or assist the offender, to wit, Norman Bowman, with the knowledge that the offender had committed the felony and with the intent to aid the offender in avoiding or escaping detection, arrest, trial, or punishment contrary to state law. This is a felony charge punishable by up to 5 years in prison and or a $10,000 fine. Do you understand that charge and a maximum consequence you're facing?
Yes.
Count 2 of this complaint, under the same time, date, and venue, it's alleged you did possess a firearm when ineligible to do so because he or she had been convicted of a felony healthcare fraud, false claim, a felony punishable by imprisonment of 4 or more years, and the requirements for regaining eligibility had not been met, contrary to state law. So this heading is possession of firearms by a felon. This is a felony charge punishable by up to 5 years in prison and or a $5,000 fine, mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or device. Do you understand that charge and the maximum consequence?
Yes.
Count 3, harboring felons. It's alleged at the same time, date, and venue you did knowingly or willfully conceal or harbor for the purpose of concealment a person who is subject to an arrest warrant for a felony, contrary to state law. This is a felony charge punishable by up to 4 years in prison and or a $5,000 fine. Do you understand that charge and the maximum consequence you're facing?
Yes.
Because you're charged with a felony offense, I must advise you, you have certain rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say orally or in writing can be used against you in court. You have the right to have an attorney present during any questioning. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you at public expense. And you have the right to have an attorney in all other court proceedings. Do you wish to have the court consider appointing an attorney to represent you in this case?
Yes.
I'll note for the record, you have somewhat completed the request for a court-appointed attorney. I have no address for you. What's your legal mailing address?
307 Grover Street, Marion, Michigan, 49665.
Okay, give me 1 second here. At that location you rent, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And your marital status is you're divorced? Do you have any dependents?
No.
And your source of income is SSI, is that right?
Yes.
And you receive $698 every month?
Yes.
Do you have any other source of income?
No.
Do you receive any other government assistance?
No.
Do you own any real property? Do you own a car or a boat or a motorcycle or a four-wheeler or have money in the bank?
I own a car.
Okay. What kind of vehicle do you own?
It's a 1999, oh God, what is it called? Today, wait. I forget the name of it, I'm sorry.
Well, I need to know it, so try to bring it to mind.
Okay,
What's it valued at?
it's $2,000.
Okay, I'll leave it blank for right now. You own any other real property?
No.
Okay. And you have obligations. How much is your rent every month?
My rent is $209.
And you have other obligations with that as well? Do you have utilities such as electric or gas?
No, that's included.
It's all included?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other obligations you have to pay on a regular basis?
Yeah, AT&T.
Okay. How much is that a month?
AT&T is $50 a month.
Okay.
Netflix, well, that's $20 a month. And I owe a few people like Publishers Clearinghouse and Finger Hut, stuff like that.
Okay. Do you have any outstanding debts as well, like credit card or medical bills or anything?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, considering the defendant lives on SSI, I'm going to grant your request for a court-appointed attorney. And I'm going to appoint a gentleman named Jim Samuels to represent you. Mr. Samuels has a contract with the 49th Circuit Court as a public defender involving felony cases. Do you understand this?
Yes.
All right, let me make the proper notation here. Barnett, you have a right to have a preliminary exam within 14 days of today's date. At the preliminary exam, the prosecutor must do two things. One, establish that a crime was committed, and two, establish probable cause to believe you're involved in that crime. Do you understand that?
Yes.
To protect your rights, I'm putting two dates on the court calendar. One is what we call a pre-prelim. It's actually scheduled for next Thursday, April the 5th, 2012 at 9:15 a.m. That's a time of day when your attorney meets with the prosecutor and discusses the nature of your case. If you're out on bond, you need to be here. If you're still incarcerated, I suspect your attorney will come and talk to you on that date. Do you understand that?
Yes.
In your actual preliminary exam, that you would have it within 14 days, I put it on the court docket for April the 12th, 2012, at 1:30 in the afternoon. So if you and your attorney choose to have it, they can go forward at that date, or I'll let them advise you what other options are there. Finally, you are eligible for bond, and I've set bond at either $50,000 surety or $5,000 cash, with a stipulation that you use no drugs, no alcohol, or possess no weapons, and you not leave the state of Michigan while on bond to the court. You understand those conditions?
Yes.
Do you have any questions of me?
No.
This concludes your arraignment then. Thank you.
$50,000 cash?
50,000 surety if you go through a bail bondsman, or $5,000 cash.
So bail bondsman would be...
I can't answer those things. That's something that you'd have to get resolved there. Okay?
I'm sorry.
All right, that's okay.